Hello, welcome to another edition of 10 Minutes with Todd at Beyond 615. So if this is your first chance kind of tuning in, catching one of these, Christian music is either written, produced, mixed, sung in the 615, which is Nashville's area code. So this is about celebrating someone in the Christian music industry, a part of that process, or at the end product, a part of the radio stations playing the songs. But we only have, is that backwards? 10 minutes. 10 minutes. She can join right now. Go ahead and join. We are going to go with episode number 7. Today's guest is Capital CMG Manager, National Promotion, Northeast Region, Rachael Hession. Rachael, join. Here we go. Okay. She is coming on board.
Hello.
You are, but I can just do this. Are you on an iPad?
Am I totally facing the wrong way?
Yeah,
okay.
You're sideways.
There we go. Perfect.
There we go. There you are. Are you on
Hello. No, it's my phone, but I thought maybe I could do it like get more of a full frame if I had it sideways.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think Instagram Live allows for that.
I guess not. You know what I was thinking?
What?
We totally could do this in person because you're like 2 blocks over from me.
I'm having lunch with your husband on Wednesday.
No way. That's so fun.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, let's do this. I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. So set a timer for 10 minutes. She said no.
Man.
Set
got
a
an
timer
attitude.
for 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes and counting.
There we go.
Tell me no again, Siri. Australian Siri.
You work for me.
Yeah, really. Golly. Hey, Brett. How's it going? Thanks for joining. Jason Davis is here as well. Hey, Jason. Okay, so
nice
we're with
to
Rachael.
meet.
Okay, so you are a Cincinnati hometown girl. I'd love for you to tell me a little bit about that experience and about some of your favorite things in Cincinnati. And the reason that I want you to share that because my wife and I lived in Cincinnati when we were first married for 4 years.
That's right.
We loved our time there.
Yeah. So I'm a big baseball fan. So every birthday I would go to a Cincinnati Reds game, but not just a Cincinnati Reds game. Cincinnati Reds versus the Cubs, because I'm a big Cubs fan at heart.
Really?
But they always happened to play, the Reds and the Cubs would play over my birthday every summer. So I would always go to a Cubs and Reds game, and it worked out. So that was like major perk growing up in Cincinnati.
Some people who haven't been to Cincinnati don't understand the whole chili and hot dogs thing that happens there.
Yes. So you are either a Gold Star fan or a Skyline fan. I'm a Skyline girl myself, but it's you kind of like don't like yourself after you eat it. It's really gross. And I learned later in high school that they flavor the chili with chocolate. And that's like what is also kind of addictive about it. Yeah, I don't know. Did you like it when you lived there?
Loved it. And my wife, when she was pregnant, she craved Skyline or Gold Star. We had both really near us. So we would go when each had like specials. By the way, my wife she makes it here. Like she's perfected the chili. It's amazing.
That's crazy. Does she put chocolate in hers?
I don't know, but I feel like she's got some secret. I forget what it is. It might be dark chocolate. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask her.
Okay.
By the way, Ryan and Jason are saying hello to you if you can't see that. And they're debating who's a bigger fan of you or I between them.
I love them both. love Ryan and Jason so much. Seriously, I know we're going to talk about work in a minute, but like I have the best job. I love my radio people. So, and my managers, I swear I have the best managers. I love it.
We're going to get into that, and we gotta fly here because I got a very saucy question for you.
Oh
But
no.
first, tell us about the journey, how you got to the contemporary Christian music industry. What was that like?
Yeah. Okay. What's the abbreviated version? I knew I wanted to do music business, felt called to go to a school that didn't offer music business. Went anyway and found a off-campus study program at the Contemporary Music Center off Church Street and did the music business track. And I kind of planned it out. I'm going to graduate in 3 years. My last semester, I'm going to do this music business program. I'm going to intern somewhere as my final credit, get a job, be there. And like, that's my plan. And I'm like truly humbled and grateful that the Lord did not thwart it and that it worked out because, yeah, I had some connections through family friends who got my resume to the right people at Capitol for an internship and interned in international distribution and streaming and got hired for a job that was like processing UPC codes for like Barnes and Noble and Amazon and Lifeway and literally just like data processing. And 5 weeks in, I get a call from HR and they're like, hey, did you know there's a position open in radio? And I was thinking, I'm not going to be that millennial who like jumps for the next best thing the second it comes along. Like I'm going to do my time. I'm going to grind. So I was like, hey, like I'm still training for this job. I'm not even interested. Like, no, thank you. Like I don't feel like I've deserved it yet. And I owe it to my team that hired me. They went through this process and I like, that's just not cool. I have a reputation to build. And she was like, well, I've already talked to your boss and your boss's boss and radio and everything. Everyone thinks that you should at least just have a conversation. And so I was like, okay, I'll have a conversation. And so I went to meet with Grant Hubbard the first day, and he wasn't even an interview. I mean, you know, Grant, he's so chill. And
He's like, let's talk about Alabama.
oh, yeah, I had heard that he was a Bama fan, and I am too. So I was like, hey, roll tide. And I think that like kind of sealed the deal. But he was just like, well, like, what do you think about like radio? It's like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't study music business. I didn't even know we had a radio department. I don't know anything. But if you take a chance on me, I'll take a chance on you and we'll see how this shindig works out.
Wow.
And yeah. And he was like, okay, well, like, let's just, you know, think about it, pray about it. I was engaged. He was like, talk to your husband or your fiance. And then the next day I met with Kenny and we just talked about his kids, hung out, I started the conversations with them Tuesday and got offered Thursday and moved into the coordinator position that next week. And I have loved it ever since. I mean, it is like, it's so funny because if you had asked me 7 years ago, what do you want to do? I would have never even known that this existed. Yeah. And it's just been such like just the hand of God guiding me and opening doors. And if he didn't want me here, I just trusted he would close the door. So it's been the best ride of my life.
I remember you in that coordinator position and just a little bit of interaction at, you know, radio station events or label events or whatever, and just thinking, she's got what it takes on the personality side, the relationship building side. And then as people come and go, you know, the position to open, and I was so happy that you moved up and were able to get that position. And from everything I hear, you're just killing it. You're excelling and doing such a good job. So congratulations.
That's so sweet. Well, thank you so. I mean, it's truly I learned from the best. Like I have the best team. I have learned so much from my programmers. Like Corey Mann in the beginning, I think unintentionally would like quiz me on stuff. Yeah. He just threw me with a question of like, so how many reporters are there on the chart? Like you're saying out of this many stations, but like how many stations total are there? Yeah. And he just kind of like made me better. And I appreciate that. I appreciate like I've just learned so much from my programmers pushing me, my team guiding me, and truly just like the Lord has walked me through it and sustained me. And I feel very grateful every day.
Here's the saucy question.
Okay.
There are some program directors in radio who keep their playing cards facing themselves and they don't turn them around so you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to let you know what they're thinking about the song. God forbid. So what are you looking for when you call program directors and music directors? What kind of feedback are you wanting? Are you wanting very specific feedback, or are you wanting, well, we're considering it, we're watching it? What's most helpful for you?
Oh my gosh. I think if you ask any promoter that question, they'll say the more the better. Because, I mean, if you look at just us working the blessing to radio, there were like 6 different versions of that song that we sent. And we're truly, at least at Capitol, like we mean it when we say we're here to serve you. And so if you have an element of a song that you don't love, we heavily consider that. And we will heavily work to resolve that for you if you like the song as a song and that you have an issue with one part. And we feel like we're getting the feedback enough. But we don't know if we're getting that feedback enough if you don't tell us, because, I mean, 5 people could have the same idea, but if only one speaks up, we might not do something about it.
Right.
So the more specific, the better. It's also helpful to know what you look at, not so that I can use it. I don't try to use it to manipulate you, but to kind of fast track you to the information that I know you're going to want.
That's a big misconception. I think that some PDs and MDs think that, well, if I tell them I look at research only, then you're going to use that to manipulate the conversation and try to get an ad that way. And if this is truly about relationship in our industry, it's a give and take. It's a push and pull. It's a being helpful. It's a partnership, right?
Totally. Yeah, that's how I see it, at least. Yeah. I think everyone can describe, I think everyone at the end of the day knows it's historically transactional. But as a believer, I mean, I have to think that it's more than that. And so I have met some of my dearest friends in this role. And I have friends all across the country now, and people that, have invited me to go stay at their house and like double date and like double vacation. And it's just so special. Like, I try not to see it as transactional, and truly you have the microscopic view into your market. And I'm not naive enough to think that I have that too. So I think that's really important.
Of course you want ads, but you also want truth. And if, there's been several times where I've given truth and had to go back because something that a radio promoter said or new information convinced me to make a different decision. And I think there's a danger in program directors or music directors saying, we're not adding that song. We're never considering that ever again. And it's just like, ooh, I know there's a lot of songs, and I know you want to whittle it down so you don't have to think of all of them all the time. But man, when a song is like a slow riser, and there's several of them right now on the chart,
there are. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing how many stations are not playing a couple of songs, and it's just like, wow, okay. And again, they're the PD and MD at the station, and I'm not judging that, but I don't know. And I've been one of those. I've not added songs that have gone top 3, top 2, number 1 before, and so. But you live and learn. Okay, timer's going off. I got one more question for you.
Okay.
Your favorite moment so far with an artist or song, and that might be tough.
Well, so I was talking to Cole, my husband, about that in preparation for this. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say for this. I still don't know, and it's in like 5 minutes. And then it hit me, and I was like, I think like Todd was there for this. Red Rocks with We the Kingdom.
We the Kingdom.
I mean, you were there for my favorite moment, and it was, I think you can explain it just as well as I can. I think we all saw the band the day before. We all kind of knew what we were going to expect, but then being at Red Rocks.
I didn't. You knew it because you knew the band. We're in this like private restaurant, and they just break out these like travel instruments and they start singing 4-part, 5-part harmony. And we're like, everybody put down their fork and paid attention. It was unbelievable.
It was incredible. But then like to see that elevated in such a beautiful place like Red Rocks that you can barely even describe it, and seeing this band just launch and seeing the crowd who doesn't even know who they are respond, and then feeding off y'all's energy, the programmers' energy, was so special. Like that to me was just like, I saw the band, I saw my team, I saw the audience, I saw my, really partners. That's what I think of my programmers as, my partners, like I saw everybody just enthralled. And so that will be a moment that I will never forget in the history of what I do.
I would agree with you. That was a special trip, and not to take away from the other two people who played after them, Pat Barrett and Chris Tomlin. We the Kingdom, though, was just like this barrage of like a fire hydrant opening up on the crowd, and it just blew everyone away.
Yeah,
that's before anyone knew Holy Water.
Exactly. Yeah, it was incredible. And I remember them doing God So Loved there, and like seeing the crowd like worship to that, people's hands in the air. And even with Pat and Chris, I remember I walked away from everybody as Chris sang Indescribable, and went to the top of the stands and just looked out and worshiped by myself, and was like, is this real life? Is this my life? Hearing him sing Indescribable, those lyrics of creation and being here. And then Pat, oh my goodness, we sat in front of his sweet dad.
That's
and
right.
That was like seeing him worship along to his son leading was so like that whole night was just, I don't know, incredible.
And we got out before the thunderstorm hit.
That's right. We had rain jackets. We were prepared, but
we got out.
I forgot about that.
Rachel, that's some good memories. And I appreciate your heart. I appreciate your journey so far, and keep up the great work. And I know you're helping to break new artist Ann Wilson as well.
Yes.
And her song, My Jesus on Capitol. And you do have a great team. And thanks for joining me and for giving us a little insight of your journey to CCM.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. And I want to just commend you on what you're doing and stepping out in faith and just taking it by the reins and going full force in this new venture. I'm just really, really honored to call you friend. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Complete transparency and honesty. I'll take that, but I give it all to God. I start my day and go, God, what would you have today? Who should I be talking with today? Make the phone ring, send an email, and I'll go through the open doors that you send. Yeah. So thank you.
And he's been showing up. I know we've talked about it. He's been showing up in pretty awesome ways. So I'm really, really happy for you.
Very cool. Thank you. Have a good night. See you.
Bye.